Good morning. I've got a little bit of laryngitis, so I hope you'll bear with me. I'll try to get through this. The topic this morning is my spiritual godmothers. And I chose the three women that I'm going to present to you today because I think each one of them represents an important element of faith and at the same time an important element of history. So what makes them interesting? Each one of these women demonstrates some area of God's faithfulness in a difficult situation. So the first woman I'm going to present to you is Maria W. Stewart. Stewart was an African-American woman who was born free in Boston in the early 1800s. And her life represents for me the ability to know God's faithfulness when you are alone or you feel alone in the world. Stewart was orphaned when she was 5 years old, and she was widowed after only 3 years of marriage. Her husband was a veteran of the War of 1812, and he was a successful business owner in Boston. But he had an untimely death, as I mentioned, shortly after their marriage, and he did have what we would call a comfortable inheritance to leave to her. But because of some what we would today call political shenanigans, she really lost most of that inheritance and did not obtain it. I do, however, want to tell you a little bit about what she did accomplish. She was what we would call self-educated. She attended what was then known as a Sabbath school. After she was orphaned, she was bound out to a minister's family. And at this time, bound out means that you are sent to live with someone and basically be a household servant to that person. And that's how you earn your keep. So that might be comparable to a pay-as-you-go type of foster care today. And so she was raised in that household and did have a very deep religious training as she grew up. But she was always aware of her position of being alone in the world, of not having what was then the very traditional protections of family and of marriage. However, in 1831, she did publish what was then called a tract. We would call it a pamphlet. And the title of the tract was called Religion and the Pure Principles of Morality, the Sure Foundation Upon Which We Must Build. And I just wanted to share a little excerpt from that, and this is the format I'll follow as I present these three women to you. Just give you a little biography on them and then share with you from their writings. What's really nice about all three of these women is that you can read their work, even though all of them lived primarily in the 19th century. Here's an excerpt from her writing. This is actually the last paragraph in that tract. And she wrote, "I am sensible, my brethren and friends, that many of you have been deprived of advantages, kept in utter ignorance, and that your minds have been darkened. And if any of you have attempted to aspire to high and noble enterprises, you have met with so much opposition that your souls have become discouraged. For this very cause, a few of us have ventured to expose our lives on your behalf, to plead your cause against the great. And it will be of no use unless you feel for yourselves and then for your little ones and exhibit the spirit of men. Then turn your attention to knowledge and improvement, for knowledge is power, and God is able to fill you with wisdom and understanding and to dispel your fears. Arm yourselves with the weapons of prayer. Put your trust in the living God. Persevere strictly in the paths of virtue. Let nothing be lacking on your part, and in God's own time, and his time is certainly the best, he will surely deliver you with a mighty hand and with an outstretched arm. I have never taken one step, my friends, with the design to raise myself in your esteem or to gain applause. But what I have done has been done with the single eye to the glory of God and to promote the good of souls. I have neither kindred nor friends. I stand alone in your midst, exposed to the fiery darts of the devil and to the assaults of wicked men. But though all the powers of earth and hell were to combine against me, though all nature should sink into decay, still I would trust in the Lord and joy in the God of my salvation. For I am fully persuaded that he will bring me off conqueror, more than conqueror, through him who loved me and gave himself for me. Mariah, sometimes referred to as Mariah, often Maria, Stewart does have a nice memory attached to her. She shares a feast day on the Episcopal Church calendar with William Lloyd Garrison, the famous abolitionist.